Hello, Grievers. I do apologize, but StreamYard's not letting me change my avatar. So that's basically what it's going to be. It's not going to be a really long live. I just wanted to say good day, and I haven't had time to set everything up yet. So that's why there's no camera. But yeah, check out my avatar. It will not let me change it, and that's doing my head in. But I don't know what's going on. No camera. It's really just to say good day to you, Grievers, because I have missed you heaps. Hey, yep, so what? And cement shoes. Anyone else rolling in? There's a few. It's a great avatar, isn't it? Yeah, didn't have time to. Just seeing if I can change it up there. No, I can't. It's definitely not going to let me change it. So, good likeness, yeah. Some would say that's a great portrait of me. I refreshed the page. I tried a heap of different things. I left StreamYard, came back in. It wouldn't let me change a thing. So that was a bit daggy of StreamYard. It's really just to say hi. I'm on both channels too, because not everyone is subscribed to both channels. So this is a way of covering all bases. Although it looks like most people are in Tasmania calling. Interesting. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, Grievers. Get me on the algorithm and all that sort of good stuff. But yeah, I do apologize. I look like a symbol of a camera with a red line through it. That's for anyone new walking in right now. I am an unusual looking human being. Throughout my life, I've been teased for looking like a camera with a red line through it. And look, bad genes maybe. I don't know. Yesterday I was planning on going live, but I was so jet lagged. It was really strange. I can come back from other places overseas and I'm fine, but I'm not actually going to say the name of the show you're talking about. In fact, I was just chatting to Finn before. We're not allowed to say rude words on YouTube anymore. It's going to be interesting to see how long or how far we get into a show before Finn drops a swear word. So we are going to be renaming it to Bonkers, and that actually has its own channel. If you give me a moment, I will get you a link. Straight into it. Thought everyone would be like, oh my gosh, we missed you so much. But it's like, where do we watch that show of yours and Finn's? So yeah, I don't know how long we'll last, because Finn's very anti-censorship. I'm not a fan either, but the reality is, if we're going to play on this platform, we have to follow the rules. It's not that different to when I did breakfast radio. We weren't allowed to say swear words on breakfast radio either. I mean, the channel link is now in the chat for you. It's not a monetized channel, but there is a fair bit of info out there about the new rules, and even if you're not monetized, you can be blocked permanently from becoming monetized if you swear. G'day to the lurkers, not saying a hello. I did manage to get sort of up to speed a little bit on, well, not really. I mean, I'm not fully up to speed, but just did a bit of a bounce around on YouTube a few times while I was away, and looks like the madness continues. I've already got notes for several more videos that I want to make on Smooth Criminal, part of the Stop the Madness series. I've also got some pretty exciting news, except I can't tell you yet. But yeah, something very cool could be happening this year for me, hopefully. I've got a few people to speak to and submissions to make and so on, but let's just say I've been inspired by a lot of things I've seen on YouTube in particular in the last 4 years, and I'm going to put it to good use. Hey, Kylie, how are you, Groover? I'll let you know when it's confirmed, Cement Shoes. But the wheels are in motion for something pretty awesome, and I'll just have to hope it all comes together. It's quite controversial what I'm proposing, so it might take a while to convince. But I'll let you know as soon as it's confirmed. One thing I've learned with YouTube, never ever tell people anything. Don't tell people an idea, because someone will pinch it and pretend that they came up with it. I don't know whether that would be the case with what I'm doing, because you do need a set of specific skills. Not that there aren't any people on YouTube with the set of specific skills, but yeah, I learned the hard way many times. There's nothing that hurts more than having someone with a bigger channel pinch your idea, and then it goes off like a frog in a sock and they get all the credit for it, and you're just sitting there going, are you going to acknowledge me at any point in time? No, you're not? Okay. So, yeah, I'll keep it under wraps for now, but it's good news. No, I'm back, Kylie. Got back from Singapore very late on Friday night. We had a stinker of a day here yesterday. I went to the beach for a swim very early in the morning. I had some parcels to pick up for my birthday, and then I pretty much came home and was jet lagged pretty badly, which surprised me, and then just had a very flat kind of day, a little bit of regrouping, but not much, mainly just hanging out with Sunny. And it was so cute when I walked through the front door. I called out her name, and my neighbours had found out that I was no one was meant to feed her last night, because I was meant to be home mid-afternoon. I didn't get home till about 8 o'clock. So one of my neighbours came over and fed her dinner, which I didn't know. So she didn't do the normal bolt to the front door, I'm hungry thing. But I called her name a couple of times. I walked into the living room. She was on her ottoman, but she was bolt upright with this look on her face like, oh my God, is that the human that shares my house? And then she saw me and she bolted up to me, and I got quite emotional. And then I went to give her a pat, and she went out of her way to let me not pat her. But she's been absolutely gorgeous. She followed me everywhere yesterday, wouldn't let me out of her sight. I did go to the beach twice. I went again in the afternoon because it was so hot. It was weird leaving Singapore's heat and humidity and coming back to Tassie, and it was the dry heat day. But yeah, it was pretty full on. Today we've had a northerly all day. It's been really windy, non-stop. Thanks, Kylie. Yeah, the candle that wouldn't go out. I know, that was pretty cute. My brother knew about it, but he wasn't sure if it was going to work or not. But it did, and then I think it had relit itself about 3 times before we started filming. So it was a bit of bad acting. And yeah, I go back to work tomorrow. So this is just a little connect. See if a few people came in and said g'day, because I have missed you, Groovers, and I got some lovely messages, and there were quite a lot of comments on YouTube that I didn't have the time to write responses to. didn't really enjoy the amount of time I spent on my phone because I didn't have my laptop with me. And I get sick of typing on my phone. So a lot of people just got love hearts, but there will be proper responses. Yeah, it's still not letting me change the avatar, unfortunately. She does have hypnotic eyes. But yeah, it's not letting me. Wonder if I hang on a sec. Let me see. Hi Time Lord. Hi Nadine. Let me see if I can bring up a. I'll have to open one first. Hang on a sec. Maybe if I just share like a picture. And pop that on the screen. Because yeah, I haven't set up my camera or anything. Like I said, I wasn't actually planning on even going live. And then I thought, done the dishes. Where's my gill? Done the dishes. I do have to go to work in the morning, which really sucks. How are you, Time Lord and Nadine? Nadine, thank you for your birthday message. Like I was saying, I haven't actually responded to a lot of messages yet, but there we go. It's pretty much Sunny's eyes. I don't want to mess with it. It might. Hopefully you've got a bit of her snout now as well. There you go. Yeah, it's great to be back. Yeah, I know. Swear words. I mean, look, as far as the creators go, and I sent Finn a video because I brought it up a couple of times in batshit. Oh, I just said it. Hi, Gasman. Thanks for all of your messages too. I am planning on responding. I was just explaining traveling without a laptop and tapping away on my phone. I just get very fatigued by it. Plus, we were flat out. We did so much in a week. I've got so many videos I've got to put together. But yeah, I don't know what the rule is with chat, but I suspect creators are going to be asking their subscribers to try to keep the swear words to a minimum because it could impact as well. Oh, you're off to work, Nadine? Yeah, I'm back to work tomorrow after nearly 4 weeks off. My first alarm. I mean, we did set alarms for our flight to Melbourne when we went to Singapore because we had to be at the airport at 5:30. But when an alarm goes off because you're catching a plane, that's a fun alarm. But I'll be putting a lot of little videos up. I've only just shown a few things. Hey, Aussie Trisha. Oh, the trip was incredible too, Gaz, man. Like I've got so many stories and we did so many incredible things. In fact, the thumbnail of this live on both channels is my sister and I on an American aircraft carrier that was in the harbour while we were there, and all of the different countries that have embassies in Singapore, I think they try to one up each other with the events and things that they put on. So we got on board this aircraft carrier after numerous security checks and so on, and ended up watching a piano recital that was performed by an American woman who's the daughter of a Holocaust survivor. And it was pretty incredible, but it was so hot on the boat, like on the ship. We could feel sweat running down our backs. It was pretty hideous. Hey, Joman. Good to see you, Grover. Yeah, we had a ball. Hey, Francesca. I meant to send you a quick message. I wasn't going to go live, and then I just thought Well, I've cleaned up the kitchen and I've done all of my regrouping and I've even packed my lunch for work tomorrow. So a quick live just to say hi to everyone because I have missed you guys. We had a ball. Everyone is here. Did you see any ancient ruins? I can see chat in both channels in StreamYard. I mean, I don't have an avatar. That's why there's a picture of Sunny on the screen. But yeah, whichever channel you're in, hit the thumbs up, guys. I'm very organized, Francesca. That's the benefit of having a couple of days before you go back to work because I wasn't counting on being jet lagged, but it really knocked me around. But then I was thinking, I used to go overseas twice a year and then COVID happened. This is the first year I've been overseas since 2019. So it might be a bit of readjusting. Ancient ruins. Well, there's not really ancient ruins in Singapore because it's a tiny, tiny country, and it's only been independent since 1965. But we did go to a place called Haw Par Village, which has a garden that's massive and really strange. I think I have put up one little video of that. And it was the guy who invented Tiger Balm built this ridiculously opulent. I mean, it cost him $1 million back in 1937. So goodness knows what that would equate to now. But he had a very twisted twisted imagination, really. So yeah, that was pretty amazing. But you can go to the Box Hill military sort of, not memorial, but site. It was on the list of possible things to do, but it's a bit similar to when you go to like Vietnam or Cambodia and you go through the tunnels. But we decided we had enough military with the aircraft carrier experience. But yeah, it's not like other countries where you've got lots of ancient ruins. I mean, Singapore is absolutely tiny. I can't even give you guys an idea of how small it is because the description my brother gave us when we got there is he marked out 3 different Hobart suburbs or towns, and it's sort of triangular. I mean, you can ride around the island in a day. There's 5.5 million people there. But you can also drive to Malaysia and you can see Indonesia, like it's very close to Indonesia and Malaysia. It's a really fascinating place. Oh, Kylie, you're going to need a nap. I bet you will. Yeah, if you can't see each other, it's because I'm live on both channels because I've got different communities. Not everyone's a member not everyone's a subscriber of each channel. Took pictures of what? Haw Par Village. Yeah, I think there's already a video up on my channel about on Tasmania Calling. Your dad that went there for work decades ago. My sister went there decades ago too for 6 weeks, and she was starting to get some flashbacks when we were there, but a lot of the places she went back in the 80s, early 80s, aren't there anymore. Yeah, it was great. The best part was hanging out with our mob. And we did get a little bit of time poolside because everywhere you go, when you get home, you're so hot and bothered and sweaty. So you needed to jump into the pool just to cool down a bit before you got changed and went out to the next thing. Like we did so much. And my sister-in-law kept saying, have you got a plan? Have you got a plan? And I was like, yep, part of the plan is we're just going to be poolside reading our books. That was the one thing that didn't happen. I was determined to read a book from cover to cover in the week I was away. And we were so busy that I didn't finish it. And then I was like, well, I've got 2 days at home before I go back to work. There's still holidays. I'll get it finished. I haven't opened it since I got back. Oh, there's penalties for everything in Singapore. My niece who was with us, she gave me a magnet, and it's Singapore, the fine city. But then when you actually look at it, it's got pictures of all of the things you can get fined for. So chewing gum is actually illegal. If you try to take chewing gum into Singapore, you get into a lot of trouble. And yes, you get fined for all sorts of things. So we went for walks nearly, not every day, but most mornings. The Botanical Gardens isn't very far from where my brother and sister-in-law live. And one of the signs that cracked me up was no plucking plants. But I've got a heap of signs that I've taken photos of, and I'm putting together another little video called A Sign of the Times. But you can get fined for so many things. And yes, spitting would get you into trouble. Littering would be a massive issue. Although when we went to one of the wetlands to look for some crocodiles, a lot of rubbish floats over from Malaysia because it's just over. It's like when I drive over the bridge on my way to work. It's not that close, but double the distance of that bridge. That's how close Malaysia and Indonesia are. Really close. Chewing gum's hideous. I mean, the thing that's weird about Singapore is that it's so clean and so everyone's so nice that you kind of almost feel like you're on the Truman Show. And then we went to Sentosa Island, which is still part of Singapore. You drive there, and that's like even more like being on the Truman Show. My brother actually said, don't be surprised if a spotlight falls out of the sky and lands on the pavement. It's very Truman Show. Everyone's very happy and polite. That's where it's so different from all the other Asian countries that I've explored. They're all dirty, even though they clean everything. Like the Vietnamese clean constantly, but there's just so many people. It's the tropics. Things just get grubby. Lots of litter. But Singapore is squeaky clean and very friendly. And a bit Truman Showish. Hi, Vivian. Well, it's Happy Chinese New Year almost. There was a lot of that going on. I went to Chinatown. It is the year of the rabbit. And there's a lot of red lanterns. In fact, even my brother has a Chinese New Year thing hanging outside their place. So there was a lot of that going on, which was really fantastic. All the Christmas decorations were being put away and all the Chinese New Year decorations were going up. And it's the year of the rabbit everywhere except Vietnam. It's the year of the cat there. They have a very similar, year like the Chinese, except they don't have rabbit. They have cat. There's a fantastic train system. We learnt that very quickly. In fact, a new station had opened up at the end of my brother and sister-in-law's street over the road from another one. So there were two lines that we could take, and it was very easy to learn it. I mean, there were a few trips that we did and places that we went, like my sister and niece and I, and even I went on my own to Little India. And it was very easy to work it out. You had to wear masks on public transport, so buses. And my sister and Jemima caught a double-decker bus into the city to go to the National Gallery, which was incredible. And they do a light show against the building. I've got video of that, and it's unbelievable. And we were walking down around that area and all the Chinese lanterns out. It was so pretty. Absolutely stunning. I can't handle hearing other people chew either. And do you know where it's worse? In the cinema. If you go to see a movie with a friend and they buy a packet of potato chips, I'm just like, oh no. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Yeah, mukbang, yuck. The kid that got caned in the 90s. They're pretty brutal, actually, with a lot of punishment. There are quite a few offences that can lead to you being executed. But the last murder that happened in Singapore was quite some time ago, and it was actually an Australian who was on a balcony in a high-rise building and dropped. Will wasn't completely sure of the details. It was either one or two stubbies off this balcony and killed two people. but a deal was struck with the Australian government and he wasn't executed. But because there's cameras everywhere, there's fines for everything. They're very obedient people. And as a result, to give you an example of how safe this place is, when you go into a massive hawker's court or a food court and you find a table, you can put your wallet on that table and no one will take it. And they've actually got a term for it. It's something like, it starts with a CH. And you can actually buy to chope. It's called choping, CHOPING, chope. And you can actually buy little little wooden blocks with chope on it to drop on the table. But I watched my sister-in-law do it. You can put your wallet on the table, and it means no one will take the table, but no one will take your wallet either. So they are incredibly strict, but as a result of that, my brother and sister-in-law don't worry about my 16-year-old niece and her boyfriend catching trains home at 1:00 in the morning because, there are cameras everywhere. Even some of the loos we went into, there were cameras in, the washroom area. They've all got outdoor gardens and, "Hey, wait, what? I've got a thing." Hang on, I've got to go to my other channel. Vivian, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's really generous. Thank you, darling girl. Aw, you're so sweet. Thank you. Before my channel gets demonetized. Thank you so much. You're clearly over on Tasmania Calling. Hey, Joey. Yeah, the light show was incredible. Well, the government, that's interesting too. They've only really got one political party, and the government looks after all the people of Singapore, like Singaporeans. It's interesting. My sister-in-law said a few times that all of this sort of kindness and cleanliness and everything else, as much as I found it all very charming, she did say it's purely for Singaporeans. Like they don't care about tourists and Westerners and so on. But I didn't care. I found it really fascinating. But yeah, so there's only one political party because the government is incredibly generous and they look after their people. They're not great with migrant workers, but the migrant workers earn incredible salaries. Like in 1 year in Singapore, they earn what it would take them 15 years to earn if they stayed in the Philippines. So there's a lot of migrant workers and they send a lot of money home to their families and it changes their families' lives, but they're certainly not, it's not that they're not, they looked after the government to an extent with housing and so on. Like there's no homelessness in Singapore, but they're definitely the underdogs of Singapore for sure. But as far as they're concerned and their families are concerned, them being in Singapore is a great thing. It's pretty weird. But in terms of their salaries, they do actually get paid proper labourers' sort of wages. They're not underpaid in that regard, but they are given fairly average-looking accommodation. They've got these sort of apartment blocks where they live, and they don't look great. It's a hot place. It doesn't look like there'd be any air conditioning or anything like that. It'd be pretty miserable. And during COVID, they were one of the few occupations that continued working through COVID. But they were very much indentured, like they had to basically leave their little apartments and go to work and then go home again. Yeah, the kid that got caned, did he graffiti something? Oh, I'm fine. Hey, Scott. Thank you, mate. It's good to be home. Be it ever so humble, there's no place like home. Thank you again, Vivian, too. That's so sweet of you. Yeah, cameras are everywhere. So, yeah, we went into the loos at Might have even been the botanical gardens, and there are cameras even in the wash room part of the loos. Once you go into a loo, there's no cameras looking into the toilet cubicles, but the wash area has cameras in it too. It's a little bit Big Brother. Or like I said, it's a bit Truman Show. Yeah, Aussies can be very embarrassing. Very respectful people. No, there's both channels are cranked at the moment. Whatever channel suits you guys, just hit that little thumbs up. Yeah, work 4 years there and then go back home and retire. Although a lot of people do stay on and keep working because they can essentially set up their entire families, and they do get to go home. Like, they do get annual leave entitlements and all of that sort of stuff, but, Will and Nikki there's a woman that was employed by the Australian Embassy or the High Commission, and her job was to look after and help maintain the property. It's not to work for Will and Nikki, it's to look after the property, and she went home on New Year's Eve. She hadn't been back to the Philippines or Malaysia. Philippines it was, for 20 years, but that was her choice too. Hi, Casper. How you doing, mate? Your goal is to do a live. Yeah, let's do it, mate. Let's do it. We went to the Singapore Zoo on our last night there, and I mean, the last night was my birthday night. We went out for a beautiful dinner at this restaurant called Chop Suey, which is up in this little village up in the hills called Dempsey. It was really cute, and it's right on the edge of the jungle. But we also flew home at midnight, so it wasn't a proper the last night we had where we woke up the next day in Singapore, we went to the zoo. And it's an amazing. I'm a bit anti-zoos because they usually have lots of high walls and high fencing and animals swaying backwards and forwards because they're bored. This zoo, apparently, when it was built, was groundbreaking because it's like the jungle and there are trenches and moats and things that stop the animals escaping. But, we saw elephants, rhinoceros, hippos, giraffes, tigers, lions, Tasmanian devils, all sorts of creatures. And we did this night safari first up in this Jeep, and then we went and saw a show in the auditorium called Creatures of the Night, which was absolutely fantastic. And then there's 4 trails that you can do. The zoo's huge and they're expanding it as well. They do a lot of research into protecting and restoring damaged environments. They handle thousands and thousands of rescue animals every year. But I did get a bit upset with not the Tasmanian devil enclosure. Holy hell, they have, look at me minding my language. They have a huge enclosure and there's 4 of them. But the little brush-tailed possums were both in fairly small enclosures, and that made me a bit sad. But then, and the wallabies are in the jungle, but they give them bamboo poles with gum leaves attached to the end of each pole, like big bunches of gum leaves. And we got a bit emotional about it. But then my sister was like, yeah, and there's probably, I mean, she was emotional too. But then we were sort of like, yeah, there's probably people from South America who go through there and get upset seeing how the South American animals are. But no, there weren't any animals that looked bored or stressed or anything like that. But I just, with my brush tails, just knowing their personalities and stuff, like I was sad that they weren't really being looked after the way the Tassie Devils were. Like, they had a palace. So one of the trails is actually the Wallaby Trail. But as far as zoos go, I can't really fault what they do. It's incredible, and it's so different to most zoos. They've got, a really good Tasmanian devil breeding program happening to try and get rid of this facial tumor disease, and they donate a lot of money to charities. And yeah, it was actually really well done. Really well done. Like, I'm very glad that we did that. We did so much. Just keep an eye out. There'll be videos popping up all the time. I've got so many videos to make. It'll get to July and you'll be like, really? No, it won't get to July, but you'll be like, you're still in Singapore. Have you gone back there? But I definitely say to people, if you are ever traveling and Singapore's your transit hub, it's worth being there for a couple of days. Even if you just go for walks around the area that you're staying in. There's nowhere else like it in the world. It really is bizarre in an endearing kind of way. But yeah, my cynical sister-in-law kept saying, don't think they're making an effort for tourists and Australians, although they love Australians. Oh my goodness. I brought back one of my neighbours who helped with feeding Sunny a taste of Singapore. It was a box of 3 little chocolates, and they were the 3 most popular beverages in Singapore. And one, I was expecting one of them to be a Singapore Sling, but it was non-alcoholic beverages. So there are these 2 other little chocolates that taste like their coffee and their tea. And the third one was Milo. Hey, Mandy Hall. Good to see you, gorgeous. So I did do a little bit of snooping around on YouTube, and I can see, yes, the madness continues. I think there'll be quite a few reaction videos you can expect from me this year. A lot of them will happen on Smooth Criminal if they're people that are claiming to be true crime. But then a lot of creators will probably get a reaction or 2 on Tasmania Calling as well. But I have to say, every time I go onto YouTube, I try to find like at least 5 new channels to subscribe to. And it really is broken record recordings for so many channels. Like Brian Coburg has been arrested and he's had 2 court appearances, one of them on my birthday. But as far as that story goes, I'm really not interested until the trial, which might be years away at this rate. Yeah, Australia's is great too, Kylie. And yes, poor old Steve Irwin, but what a legacy, right? So yeah, the Idaho murders continue to dominate my notifications, and I really would have thought the sleuthing channels would have learnt their lesson, but now it's all about, a former cheerleader who didn't want to date him and someone who cut his hair, and they're so obsessed with it. And it's like there's so many other crimes that are happening in America they could be covering. But anyway. It's not like we haven't seen this obsession with one case before. You're writing your theory down, Joey, and bring it out if it's true. You should pre-record it and date stamp it. Mind you, I did that live 3 weeks after I went down the whole... Now, see, this is where I'm confused because I've noticed channels are now saying SK for serial killer. Is that seriously how bad it's getting on YouTube? Because I'm not doing unaliving and SKing. That's just stupid. But people didn't flock to my, hey, look at my prediction 3 weeks ago live. They don't care. They just keep tuning into the big channels that are now just going down all sorts of roads. And the reality is the affidavit that was put out, we still have very little information. That's not a summary of the prosecution's case at all. But I tell you what, if that affidavit was the only evidence they had, I reckon he'd get off. I think people are underestimating him. And I think he's covered his, even though he got arrested, I think that's actually part of his obsession with crime. And the trial is a big part of it too. So, yeah, I think people might be a bit shocked with the outcome. But, I mean, I can see channels going down all sorts of different theories. You know, now they're talking about the guy that was threatening to shoot his housemates, the former Marine or military dude who had a knife and exactly like the one that was used, and he was shot and killed by the cops, the one with PTSD. And yeah, I don't have the time or the interest to speculate on stuff like that. I'm happy to see the trial when it happens, but I think people are really underestimating Bryan Kohberger, and he could potentially pull off one of the least unexpected outcomes of a murder trial imaginable. That's the only hinky I'm getting at the moment is all these channels that are just going down. I mean, I saw the persecution of the surviving housemate too, which was disgusting. I noticed that's still ongoing, but not one person that seems to be scathing about how she acted and didn't call 911. Why would she? She didn't know that her 4 housemates had been slaughtered. It was pretty hideous. Yeah, the trial's going to be a huge thing for him. And as a former defense lawyer, if that affidavit, which people are treating it like the totality of evidence, which is just ridiculous, but if that affidavit was the prosecution case, the entirety of it, you could easily get him acquitted. Just saying. Oh, MGL blaming his mother and sister. Oh, and I did see Bullhorn Betty. Did you see her talking about the sister being allowed back at the crime scene to take photos? And it wasn't his sister, it was some investigator. And people were telling her that, and as usual, Bullhorn just ignored it. Expect a lot of me reacting to her, Molly, Jonathan, Olivia. Acquitted even with the DNA on the sheath. Well, yeah. If it turns out he did know the guy who was shot and killed by the cops, was it the 15th of November? Or was it in December? I haven't got all the dates and haven't been taking notes, but if he knew him, all he has to do is say his mate showed him the knife and he opened it up, and that's why his DNA is on the sheath. But yeah, I've noticed a lot of people are now saying you probably should be looking into this guy, and it's interesting too. His initials are also BK. I'm just presenting a way of explaining his DNA being on the sheath. People are alleging they may have known each other and they're somehow connected, and a lot of channels are putting a lot of weight into his comment when he was arrested. Have they arrested anybody else? But he was also quoting a serial killer when he said that. But yeah, just as a little sideline, I think there's a lot of ways he could explain a lot of things. Yeah, there's a lot of channels talking about it, Cement Shoes, but it came out, the story came out, and they were very quick to say they weren't connected. But a lot of people are now saying, but what if they are? Aussie Tad. No, it wasn't his dad's DNA on the sheath, but the DNA on the sheath, they got DNA of the dad, and it was like a 99.99% accurate outcome that the two DNAs had to be related. The other guy, I'll get the details up. But yeah, like I said, I'm not really going to be going down any speculation. The lawyer in me just waits for trials, and there's plenty of other things I need to be calling out on YouTube, like well, the Fab Four. Hang on a sec. December the 14th. Sorry, the page is still loading. Yeah, so there's this down. It was in Pullman in Washington State. He threatened to kill his two roommates, and there was a standoff, and it ended with the cops shooting him. Laytar Street in Pullman, and the roommates were evacuated. He barricaded himself in the apartment. He began firing from the apartment, and they tried verbal negotiations and less lethal tools leading up to the shooting. It was a Washington State University Police Department officer that shot 36-year-old Brent Lee Kopacka, Kopacka. But yeah, another BK, a BLK. And a terribly sad obituary for him. He suffered a traumatic brain injury in combat in Afghanistan, and then he had a 16-year battle with severe PTSD. But people are now linking him to it as well. Yeah, the dad's DNA was taken from the trash in Pennsylvania, correct. Yeah, this not swearing thing is really hard. Yeah, wait for the case. I mean, everyone was blaming the Jacks and the Adams and the Jeremys and the Amans, and I was live saying, I reckon it's someone who's got a bit of a fetish and obsession with murderers, essentially. And I think, 16 or 15 people joined me for that live. Might have got to 20, actually, but that was probably because I had Jen Lou on the second live. But the one driving into work, as usual, not many people tuned in. And then, of course, when he was arrested, suddenly they've all gone down that road too. But I don't know, us little channels, we know what we're doing, but people don't want to hang out with reasonable people. I mean, you guys do. But most people on YouTube don't want to hang out with reasonable people. But yeah, very interested in the case. And I think people are really underestimating Bryan Kohberger. And I'm also not going to mention his name more either. I just would prefer to call him a suspect. He is innocent until proven guilty. So, A lot of channels are pretty much talking about him like he did it and he's guilty. That's kind of disgusting too, in a country that prides itself on their judicial system and the presumption of innocence, which they would all expect to be shown that presumption if they were in a pickle. But it's quite okay to talk about someone who's been arrested as if he's already been convicted and sentenced. It's pretty irresponsible. Yeah, it's a really sad story, Aussie Trisha. How you doing, Gorge? Hey, BR the Star. Oh, when was day 6 of your birthday week? Oh, BR, happy belated birthday. What date are you? I'm so sorry. I didn't do anything on YouTube. I would have been reminded if I had. Well, yeah, it is, but any existing videos on channels, even going back 5 years ago, 6 years ago, are being marked as ineligible. So I've already got a heap of them marked as ineligible for monetization. But also YouTube hasn't officially written to creators to let them know precisely what's going on. So the majority of people are erring on the side of caution and trying to do lives without swearing at all. But like I said, I mean, I have a background in breakfast radio. It's no different. I wasn't allowed to swear. I really don't know how Finn and I are going to do, though. Like, I don't think he can have a sentence without a swear word in it. It has become its own country of lunacy. And not just the creators, but the people who run the show, too. Oh, Jan the 9th. Happy belated, gorgeous. I'll pretend that I did raise my glass here. I raised a lot of glasses across my trip to Singapore. I definitely had a drink for you on my birthday on the 12th. So you're day 6 of your... So I'm a bit behind you. I'm only like day 3. Woohoo! I don't do birthday week. I just have a nice birthday and then celebrate till the next one. But I don't call it my birthday year. Birthday weeks and birthday months seem to be a very American thing. I mean, well, actually, there is an Australian girl I know who didn't wish me a happy birthday. Her birthday is not until the end of January. And every day she's posting something on Facebook going, day 13 of my birthday month. And it's like, hello, I actually had one and you haven't even acknowledged it. So I ain't going to acknowledge hers. She's a former work colleague. She's not really a close friend. So, yeah, lots of birthday, good Capricorn peeps, even if it's just me and BR the Star. I mean, we're awesome. Hit the thumbs up for BR. I can see I've got 2 thumbs up on the Smooth Criminal channel. Okay, so maybe everyone's over on the Tor one. Yeah, there's heaps of thumbs up over there. Thanks, Groovers. Aussie Trish is the 23rd. Woohoo! You're still a Capricorn, just? Or are you on the cusp? Is it the 22nd? It's funny, most people when they meet me don't pick me as a Capricorn. They pick me as an Aquarian, so... Joey's a goat too. When's your birthday, Joey? Have you had yours already? This is the only thing Facebook is good for these days is birthdays. You are Aquarian. That's why I love you. Love Aquarians. Joey, when was your birthday? Have we missed it? Is it coming up? I do have a birthday book. I need to start writing in it. You're a double Aquarian, Aussie Tad. How does that work? Well, you don't need to, Scott. But mine was only 3 days ago and I'm still hungover from it. And I'm proud. I'm more into my birthdays as I get older. Not that they have to be amazing celebrations, although a birthday in Singapore is going to be very hard to beat for sure. But I love that I've got to 56. Sure, Cappy, that explains a lot. Smart in the brain and donkey. Oh, look, keep an eye out for when Finn and I do our next show, because I just don't know how he's going to not swear. Where's Joey gone? We're waiting for Joey to tell us when her birthday is. Oh, the 18th. All right, great. It's coming up. Woo, we didn't miss that one. Us little Capricorns. The 18th, Joey, I've made a note. Oh, your chart. Wow. Well, Aquarians are great. Love humanity, not fans of people. 56 is a great age, isn't it, Scott? So is anyone in chat? Was it you, Aussie Trisha? You've got a child with the birthday the 12th as well? Oh, and your youngest grandchild was 2 today. Yeah, Mel's video is hilarious. I mean, look, this channel, for example, this one, Smooth Criminal, is not monetized, but I don't want to do anything that could potentially stuff up this channel. Poor old Tasmania Calling has already been driven into a non-algorithm seeking cul-de-sac anyway, but this channel has hope. Hey, Graz, how are you, mate? Happy Chinese New Year. You're so cocky and pretentious. You're the first day of the Leo. Oh, my sister's a Leo. She's the 2nd of August, but you must be in July, like the 23rd-ish. I don't guess people's ages ever. People in chat can be, but I don't do that. I'm a Tasmanian. We all look younger. It was your second son on the 12th. He turned 44. Number 1 son will be 45 on the 20th. Aussie Trisha, heavily pregnant with 2 children in Australia in the Australian summer. That was one thing my mother and father both reminded me. They did call me a mistake, which was silly because they were planning on having more children, but it was a mistake for my mum to be heavily pregnant in December and January in an Australian summer. Yeah, the 23rd. See, go Tori, go. I'm cusping. But yeah, I never tried yeah, it was fun. Not exactly. And it sucks being a January baby too, because, I mean, don't get me wrong, my birthday I just had in Singapore, unbelievable. It was amazing. But usually it's school holidays. Most of my friends were away. I'd have a party. I'd be waiting for people to rock up. People would not even call my mum and say, we can't come because we're going to be on a holiday somewhere. Ugh. And also Christmas has just happened. The number of times I got, this is your Christmas and birthday present. And then I had to wait a whole year for Christmas and my birthday to come around again. 19 forever. I started counting backwards before Benjamin Button, I might add, from my 40th. So I've just turned 24. I want to see how close I get to 80. So I can say to people I'm 0 years old. Or, 78. I'd like to tell people I'm 2. And it was before Benjamin Button. They stole my idea. But no, I'm actually proud to say I'm 56. I've got a lot of friends who didn't even get to 50. So, you got to celebrate still another turn around the sun, right? You hate celebrating a birthday. You'd rather people forget it, hate the attention. Yeah, I'm not normally good with it, but I loved it in Singapore because I've been, with COVID and everything, we've all kind of had pretty quiet years, and it was lovely to have all my family around me. And I met a guy at the cricket club. We went there for dinner one night, and I thought it was going to be super posh, but it was very cricket clubby. It was great. But I met this lovely gentleman who bought me, or didn't buy me. He asked me to join him and his lawyer friend for a scotch, which I don't drink, but I drank it because I'm polite, and it wasn't actually that bad, but because it was obviously a very good scotch. And then as we were leaving the cricket club, he came up to me with a piece of birthday cake and a candle on it and wished me happy birthday. That's the thing, like, people in Singapore are just so lovely. And yeah, I usually get a bit embarrassed with all of that sort of attention, but I got to admit, I absolutely loved being a birthday girl while we were overseas. It was awesome. Let's just say you're over 50 and leave it at that. Okay, Casper, we'll leave it at that. That did steal my idea. It was originally The Curious Case of Tori H. Yeah. Your grandson's birthday, the 23rd. Well, Sunny's birthday is Boxing Day, so she has Christmas Day and then her birthday together, and then she's got to wait a whole day before I spoil her again. Put your age up 10 years. Wow, you're looking good. Yeah, that's good theory. You're closer to 70 than 65. You're awesome, Aussie Trisha. We love you. You were born in 76, so if you make it to 76, that's a good way to do it, Kylie. I was born in 67. I'd like to get past 67. My mum had only been 60 for a month when she died. You didn't think you'd live past 30. You were married in 76. Oh. Actually, I saw something. I wonder if I've still got it open. Did I close it? I think I closed it. It was a classic. It was like a Gen Xer that was having a chat with a millennial who mentioned something about something that had happened 30 years ago, and they automatically went to the 1990s. No, I can't remember how it went. It was really funny. Did I take a screenshot of it? Hang on. It warrants a description better than the one I'm giving. No, I didn't save it. It was cool, though. Their brain went to the 90s, and then they realized that it was actually... No, their brain went to the 70s, and then they realized it was actually the 90s were 30 years ago. You love a good party. You'll celebrate anything. Flag Day, Groundhog Day, Left-Handers Day. Oh, I'm a left-handed. Have we discovered that about each other? I'm left-handed too. So is Joey Wilson left-handed as well? I mean, there's 3 left-handed Capricorns. Oh, you're 42, Nadine, the meaning of life. Your mum's 91 and going strong. That's amazing. Go, mum. Oh, wow. And your mum died at 60 as well. I'm sorry to... Yeah, it sucks, doesn't it, BR? Way too young. Oh, you're 41. You're not the meaning of life. You mathed wrong. Left handler. I think it's hander, Graz. Oh, you're another left-hander, Scott. I do remember that you spent your honeymoon in West Point. Yep, only 10% of the world are left-handed, including Bart Simpson. Oh, you'll drink for us. Thanks, Darls. That's nice. You didn't call us a southpaw. Left-handed Capricorns are running amok. It's out of control in here, Graz. Hey, you and I talked about trying to do a live last year. Let's see if we can make that happen this year. I seriously, the smaller channels, I mean, you're not a small channel, but compared to, I mean, this particularly on Smooth Criminal, it's a tiny chance, only 500 and a bit subs, but it was 350 when I started doing stuff on it about 8 weeks ago. So it's growing. But these really big channels, the super channels, and they're still not massive compared to the really big, PewDiePie kind of stuff, but the bigger crime channels, they're just so good at giving the audience what the audience wants, and I just refuse to, because what the audience wants is rubbish, and I don't have a lot of time to do YouTube, but when I do, I want to do stuff that has, meaning, and I'd rather spend my time showing how obscene so many people on YouTube are, and the number of people that want that sort of stuff, and calling out all of the madness that's going on, and interfering with the course of justice, and the way that this new sleuth era, which is nothing like OG true crime. It's actually so disrespectful to OG true crime that they even call themselves true crime, because they're nothing like OG true crime at all. So yeah, the time that I've got on YouTube, I know exactly what the masses want, and I could easily do it, but I'd have to also like my reflection at the end of the day. It's really important to me that I don't brush my teeth and try not to. I mean, I don't stare at myself in the mirror either. I'm not a fan of mirrors, but that glimpse you get when you're brushing your teeth, I want to be okay with the face looking back at me. You're left-handed. Maybe we are twins from different mothers, Scott. Yeah, well, the big super channels are now going down the sleuthing road. The channels that used to be fantastic at sticking to the facts, or very good at sticking to the facts, are now speculating as well. It's vulgar. 56 too, weird. Yeah, we're on the same page, Graz. I think I haven't had a chance to listen to you lately, but I've seen a couple of your live headings, and that you kind of doing the same sort of stuff that I do too. It's great. There's not many of us that are doing it consistently or earnestly. Like, some people are sort of doing it, but then they'll go back to providing content for the masses. But there's definitely a community of YouTubers that are calling it out. All I want is to change one person's mind. If I change one person's mind and they go, I've bought into this rubbish, I really should rethink how I observe true crime and stop being one of these take things offline and support people that do that and going real life and all of that sort of stuff. But just the sleuthing alone online is, I mean, from a former criminal lawyer's perspective, it's just gold. It's a gold mine. So many ways to get witnesses struck, and social media is providing millions of ways to get witnesses struck. And you have a key witness for the prosecution struck, and your client walks free and commits a crime again. Do you think any of these irresponsible YouTubers and social media users are going to feel any guilt about it when they're the ones that caused it? Of course they're not. Unless it's someone they know and love who gets hurt, and then we'll all hear about it till the end of time. You've been married 30 years? Hell no, I'm too intelligent for that rubbish, Scott. I've been engaged a couple of times. I don't believe in marriage. I just believe in collecting rocks. Can I just say I appreciate the lack of swearing in here? Well, I'm making an effort because we're not allowed to now. I think people will prefer it. And to be honest, I haven't had a lot of people say horrible things to me on YouTube, but the bulk of the negative comments have been about my potty mouth. The Beach Boys wish they all could be California girls, but I'm over here wishing they could all be fabulous, like you and the infamous Jen Luke. Yes, I know. Wouldn't the world be wonderful? I mean, we're all like-minded people. That's why I love the community here, and also over on, well, even the, oh my God, I'm going to have to change the name of my kitchen too. I can't say that word anymore. Yeah, I'll check them out, Aussie. I haven't, Aussie Tad, I haven't had a chance to catch up on anything. I've been a tourist and catching up with the fam. Sometimes I get down from the views and algorithm stuff, but I feel good at the end of the day. We aren't blaming people. Absolutely not. But I'll be calling out if people are like majorly irresponsible. I'm not going to hold back, and I haven't. I don't know. People do like stumbling across voices of reason, so you know. Hey, Green Eyes, stick with me for the crime. Good on you. I've actually got an update on, well, it's not really an update, unfortunately, but Toy accordingly, the extradition proceedings have been stalled to get that dude back to Australia, but he was actually quoted as saying he really wants to be extradited so he can prove he's innocent. So that's pretty interesting. But yeah, the extradition proceedings are, as we thought, taking a lot longer. I will do an updated live at some point. There wasn't a lot more to the article than what I've told you guys, but I'll do one for Toya for sure. Do any of you have an if I go missing file? No, I don't. Oh, not that many rings, Scott, too. Yeah, collecting rocks. The Crappy Caddy Kitchen. But will Crappy get me into trouble? Well, the monetized channel, the Tasmania Calling one, that's gone into an algorithm cul-de-sac and I can't get out of it. I don't like this no swearing thing. I mean, I do think that I can see why they're doing it because they want it to be a family-friendly platform, but that's sort of unfortunate because initially the appeal of YouTube was being able to join people live talking about contentious subjects and issues of the day and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, what sort of drew me to it in the first place is essentially been erased. They're reinventing it. But, I don't mind playing the game. I've learned how to not swear when I'm live on radio, and I did that for 7 years, so hopefully I can do okay here too. Well, the problem is those very same people, Scott, are the ones that have, hundreds of people watching them and hitting the thumbs up, and that's what keeps them on the algorithm. You got to have the audience. But even now, like with 20 people watching, and I'm on 2 channels, which is a bit silly, but I wanted to cover both bases in case someone wasn't subbed to one or the other. But even if, like, say this was just on one channel with 20 watching, if you've got 10 thumbs up, that puts you in the algorithm. If you've got 50% of your audience, no matter how big or small it is, watching you and giving you a thumbs up, that gets you onto the algorithm. I like my potty mouth too. It's part of my personality, but I do have to behave. Hey, Miss K, how are you, gorgeous? Mer cluckers. Yeah. Look, I love the communities on all 3 of my channels, and I mean, it's pretty much the same community in each one. I wouldn't have it any other way. But I am going to wrap this little live up. I really just wanted to say good day to you, Grievers and Smoothers, because I have missed you all, and I'm back to work tomorrow, and I already know that I'm going to have a day from hell. I'll just have to keep breathing and just do one client at a time, just not get too stressed out. But yeah, having had nearly 4 weeks away, I'm fairly confident the girls at work who would have been probably not that busy last week, but things would have been starting to get busy by the end of the week. I'm pretty sure they will have filled my calendar with lots of clients. So I'm going to log off and brush my fang and get ready for Bedfordshire. And my first alarm, apart from the airport one, which was a fun alarm, in a very long time, 5:30. Although I've been waking up at 5 a.m. consistently the entire time I've been on leave. So I always set the alarm in case I sleep in, but I never do. And there's a certain little Miss Sunny Bum who will definitely, bum. Is that a bad word? Sunny bottom. Sunny tushy. I mean, seriously, can't we at least say bum? Is that an okay word? I guess I'll find out. Graz, I'll be dropping in. You'll have 21 next time. And it is how it goes. People don't want to hang out with reasonable people, which I think is sad because I've always felt that there's enough room for everyone on YouTube, but there'd also be enough of an audience for every type of person on YouTube. I mean, if I organised a dinner party with all of you guys, I could easily invite the same number of friends. So there'd be like 34 of us all just wanting to have good conversations. Are they well, very few of my friends are even on YouTube, like my real lifers. Oh, don't get me wrong, I've got real life friends that I've made on YouTube too, but what are we doing on YouTube, guys? We're insane. I will give her a massive smooch from you, Kylie. Oh, that's a cool timing thing. And look, the worst thing about you and I, it's time zones are normally so opposed, you know, like it's rare that we sort of are able to jump in on the other one. But when I can, I certainly will. I'm spending more time going into channels and participating in chats and stuff, and I'm actually really enjoying it. But it has to be like a channel like yours, Graz, where we're like-minded. I do listen to a lot of your stuff on replay. I probably should make comments more often too. But I often put people on in the car and then I get home and, you know, life kicks in and I forget to go back and leave little comments. But I really appreciate you dropping in. Birthday celebration day 6. Well, thank you for dropping in and saying hi to me on my birthday celebration day 4 or 3. Don't know, Jamin. The problem with that is that's part of the algorithm issue, because if I go live when I'm driving, I mean, I'm sort of conflicted by it anyway about the road safety thing, even though I think I'm overly cautious. But a huge part of the problem is, which Francesca taught me, is that people writing in capitals so I can read chat, that is actually seen by YouTube's algorithm as trolling, like as trolls. And that can really impact the algorithm too. So I think I'm going to have to not do live drives for a while and just see if that makes a difference, because I have gained a few new subs on Tasmania Calling, and it might be because I haven't been doing the drives for a while and I haven't really put a lot of content up. I've done a bit of Singapore stuff on there, but that's about it. So yeah, I think it could actually be hurting the channel, not helping it. So maybe not, to answer your question very briefly, no, but you just got the long version too. Did have a lovely time. I've got lots of stories to share, Aussie Trisha. Sunny butt, sunny cheeks. Happy born. Thank you, yep. So what? It is the real Graz, yes. Can the real Graz please stand up? Yeah, maybe if you moon the audience, definitely. I definitely think it is a prerequisite to be insane, but at least we all found each other. 4:39 a.m. Oh my goodness, you're crazy, Nadine. I'm not sure what that was in response to, but yeah, more comments and joining for sure. I do find you very fun to listen to. I'm glad we were introduced last year. Now we've just got to do some collabing and have some laughs. So yeah, the artificial, yeah, I know, isn't it crazy, Joman? But yeah, apparently that's the thing. Like, same with heaps of emojis. You know, when they say throw up hearts for Sunny or whatever, and people put 30,000 love heart emojis. Apparently, that's also picked up by the AI as being trolling as well. Would love to be. We've been chatting about that too. I mean, when we all kind of collided last year. Get up an hour earlier, drive to work and have a stream an hour in the parking lot. I mean, I could always go live once I get to work for that sort of half an hour while I put my makeup on and finish my coffee and stuff. Could do that, Groovers. I do some of my best thinking in the car, though, like the whole theory about Brian Koberger. And look at it now. Everyone's going, oh, he's obsessed with serial killers and murder and stuff. And I was like, yeah, we talked about that 3 weeks ago. Well, it was more than 3 weeks ago. It was like 5 weeks ago. Yeah, shout out to YouTube for taking away all the fun. Hi, Nicole Morgan. Heading back to bed, but I just wanted to say your smiles are gorgeous and your happiness is reflected in your eyes. Good to see you back. Thank you, Nicole. Although you do know I don't look like a cat, right? It is going to get, well, worse in some respects and not others, because shorts are going to be monetized and it doesn't take long to make them. So, expect a lot of shorts on a lot of channels. They're monetizing shorts. So, that's a pretty cool thing, because the hours that people do for the pittance that they make on here, it really is work. I mean, don't get me wrong, I find it really fun and entertaining and it's a great little hobby. But the fact that they're monetizing shorts, I think, is a really good thing. Best stream of 2022. Tor Jen Lu on the that was a rip snorter live. Oh, my smiles. Oh, me and my sister. Thank you, Nicole. They are trying to take on TikTok, but hey, I'm all for monetized shorts. They don't take long to make. Amber Turd should sue YouTube for taking away her free speech. She should. But yeah, that stream was epic. I really need to go back and edit that bit, especially the literary part, Cement Shoes. That was so funny. I don't look like a cat. Oh, Ozzy, stop. Oh my gosh. You guys are so sweet. Thank you. I love you too, Ozzy Trisha. Thank you, darling girl. That's so lovely of you. Little Sonny's bank account's looking good for the year. Thank you so much. I'll be introducing you finally to the Bonarong babies. I think my estimated earnings on my channel for the last 4 months has been about $28. So I am still going to sponsor our initial critter, the wombat, again for a year, but Sunny and I donate to 10 Lives, which is the cat rescue where I got Biscuit and Sunny from. So for a while, they'll be my charitable donations each month. But my goal is to get Smooth Criminal monetized and then move the sponsoring of the Tasmanian critters over to Smooth Criminal. Yeah, call me Ishmael. Oh, no, it was bloody gold. Oh, I said bloody. Yeah. Look, I mean, I'm just grateful I don't rely on YouTube to pay my mortgage, But it does also sicken me that there are channels that YouTube does pay their rent and bills and they basically just go live being horrible day in, day out. And people throw money at them. The nastier they get, the more money they get. It's really disturbing. Having trouble with joining. Well, you can join Tasmania Calling. You might come out of this cul-de-sac. But for the moment, there's a little bit of movement and growth. I mean, that channel went from getting between 600 and 700 subs a year to only getting 40 last year. That was the sentence I thought of when we started chatting about that live, Cement Shoes. Now it's the winter of our discontent. Oh, the depth trial was epic. I really need to go back and do an edit of that, just like a short sort of summary of it. And you know what I loved about it? I loved that we had a really good group who all hung out together. A few people went to bed and then got up and we were still live, but all these other channels that had thousands of people and the creators were only acknowledging people who gave them super chats and they were talking over what was going on in the courtroom, like they're more interesting than what we were watching. I loved our live. That was so much fun. Jen Lu and you guys were all incredible too. It was just all of us just had the best time. Oh, Sunny, have you got the Zoomies? Because it's nearly my bedtime. Sunny says hi to everyone. She's missed all of the attention from you guys too. But we're out of here. I'm brushing my fangs. I'm heading to bed. I'm setting my alarm. And Sunny always insists on getting the Zoomies and me chasing her around the house at bedtime. So that's what I'm about to go and do. Thank you too for the incredibly generous loves. I feel ridiculously spoilt. Hey, what's that? That was weird. But yeah, thank you, Aussie Trisha and Vivian, I think it was. Have I got the wrong person? No, I can't remember. Oh, I'm on the wrong channel to check too. You've probably already put the answer in the other thing, but I'm now over. Oh, they've changed the tab to earn. I don't like. Hello, Sunny. You got the. Yeah, it was beautiful, Vivian too. Yeah, so Vivian and Aussie Trisha, thank you so much. Thanks everyone for popping in and say hi. Happy birthday to all of the Capricorns. Hi, Humanimal. Just in time for me to say see ya. Good night, Graz. Night, Aussie Trisha. Bye, everyone. Even though I think you're all on Tasmania calling, I'm going to end with the Smooth Criminal outro. But yeah, thanks so much for hanging out. It's really nice to be home. I did have an amazing trip, and you will be sick of me talking about it very soon, I'm sure. But hopefully tomorrow back at work won't be too dreadful, and I'll be back live on YouTube very soon. But you guys seriously are awesome. I did miss you a lot. I mean it from the bottom of my bottom. And I'll see you all again very soon.
DJ Gorbacha.
Bye, smoothers. Bye, groovers. I love you all from the bottom of my bottom. I love your bottoms. Bye for now.